चलो कीप रीडिंग. फ्रिक्शन फोर्स, नाम तो सुना होगा ना, फ्रिक्शन. लाइक नाइन्थ क्लास में, एट्थ क्लास में आल्सो यू लर्नड. व्हाई द फ्रिक्शन फोर्स इज कमिंग टू पिक्चर? टेल मी. फ्रिक्शन फोर्स क्यों आ रहा है? व्हाई फ्रिक्शन फोर्स कमिंग पिक्चर? एनीबॉडी?
Sir,
व्हाई?
to oppose motion.
हाँ, व्हाई इट इज अपोजिंग? क्यों फ्रिक्शन फोर्स, व्हाई इट इज अपोजिंग? क्यों आ रहा है? कॉज क्या है? हाँ
Surfaces are not smooth.
हाँ. See, suppose I put a book on the table. If you see in a minute level में, microscopic level में, the book has a irregular surface. देखो, a book में रखूंगा. If you see in a minute microscopic level में, the book का surface is like this, and the table also surface will be like this. ये दोनों interlock हो जाएगा, interlock हो जाएगा. Now if I given a little force, I'm trying to give the force, definitely वो interlocking की वजह से there is a friction force is acting, in the backward force is acting, that force is called friction force. Okay, because of interlocking. So ideal में कभी भी कोई भी बॉडी में इट्स नॉट लाइक वेरी स्मूथ. हम लोग सोचेगा स्मूथ है, बट एक्चुअली इफ यू सी इन माइक्रोस्कोपिक लेवल में देयर इज ए बॉन्डिंग विल बी देयर, इंटरलॉकिंग विल बी देयर. उस इंटरलॉकिंग की वजह से फ्रिक्शन फोर्स इज एक्टिंग इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. ओके, तो देखो इफ यू सी इन दिस माइक्रोस्कोपिक लेवल में इट विल बी इरेगुलर शेप विल बी देयर. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इंटरलॉकिंग ओनली द फ्रिक्शन फोर्स इज कमिंग टू पिक्चर. ओके, चलो ना फ्रिक्शन का पूछूंगा. It tell me if there is no force, whether friction will be there or not there. If there is no force between the bodies. Yes. So, देखो, if we try or if we slide or try to slide a body over another surface, the motion of a body is resisted by bonding between the body and the surface. This resistance is called as friction. Short form में चाहे तो लिख लो. If we slide or try to slide also, even the body is not moving also, if we are trying to slide, definitely there is a friction force acting in the opposite direction. That resistance को we call as friction. Short form में लिखो, first थोड़ा theoretical, then numericals में जाएंगे. The force of friction is always parallel to the contact surface and opposite to the direction of intended relative motion. Wherever relative motion is there, उसका opposite direction में the friction force will be in the opposite direction always. Okay, and parallel to the contact surface आएगा, parallel to the surface. अभी
Yes, sir, copy.
तो या शॉर्ट फॉर्म लिख लो. चलो, if a body is at rest and no pulling force is acting on it, the friction force is zero. When the body is at rest and there is no pulling force or anything force, then the friction force is zero, because there is no bonding का resistance का opposite direction में कोई force act नहीं हो रहा है. That's why the friction force is zero. There are three different types of frictions: static friction, kinetic friction, rolling friction. These are the three different types of frictions we are talking about. Okay, उसमें ज्यादा वाला we are talking about static and kinetic friction. Okay, so I'll give example where we can differentiate static friction, kinetic friction and the rolling friction. Okay, चलो देखो, इस static friction में only we will have limiting friction. देखो, सपोज यू आर गोइंग हाईवे में जा रहे हैं, गाड़ी में जा रहे हैं, सडनली बीच में आपको गाड़ी रुक गया. ओके, गाड़ी स्टॉप्स, व्हाट यू विल डू? What you will do first?
Apply brake.
नहीं, गाड़ी stopped. पीछे what will do? गाड़ी चला रहे, बीच में रुक गया हाईवे में. What will do?
So then,
What?
so you call someone.
You call someone. Okay. You know,
So
last
I'll
year girl
try to push
told,
the car.
huh?
I'll try to push the car.
Push the car. The last year girl told, I'll cry sir first. Okay. So, push the car. Okay. So when I start pushing, whether the car will move initially, it will not move. Okay. When I try to push, the car is not moving. Where is our force went away? Where is my force went away?
Friction.
I'm trying to push, but the car is moving. In the form of friction, it is opposing. Friction force is opposing. मैं push करता गया, friction force oppose करता गया. So when I go on increasing the friction force, मतलब pulling force or pushing force, increase कर रहा हूँ, the friction force is increasing indirectly. Okay. Suppose 3-4 people को बुला के I go on increasing the pushing force. Then क्या होगा? Friction force बढ़ता गया, but एक limit होगा, एक particular limit होगा. वो limit cross करने के बाद only it start moving. Right? Friction force उतना कम रहेगा ना. Suppose मान लो this is a body है, this is a friction force है, इसका maximum capacity is 10 Newton. So मैं 1 Newton दिया, 2 Newton दिया, नहीं गया, 3 Newton गया, up to certain limit 10 Newton तक limit है. Okay. So 10 से below जो भी दे रहा हूँ ना, that force, that at that time the friction is acting, that friction is called as static friction. Static means object is at rest, it will not move. Okay. At that time the friction is acting is nothing but static friction. At 10 Newtons, this is a maximum static friction. This is a maximum static friction को we call as limiting friction. इसके बाद limiting friction के बाद एक 0.01 न्यूटन दिया तो भी it will start moving. Okay. Static friction means मालूम समझ में आ रहा है? When you go on giving the force, the गाड़ी नहीं move हो रहे, but the force acting in the backward direction, that is called as static friction. एक certain limit तक रुक सकते हैं. That limit is nothing but maximum static friction is called limiting friction. And इसके 1 न्यूटन भी आगे दिया तो it will start moving. At the moving time में friction which is acting, that is called as kinetic friction. Okay. Kinetic friction. These all things we have to know. Okay. एक एक के बारे में उसका फॉर्मूला क्या है वगैरह वगैरह we learn. Okay. So observation क्या दिया? Block does not move, right? Initially. That means which type of friction force is acting? Static friction force is acting. The car is not moving, right? At that time, what the force which is acting is nothing but static friction force. Next, a block is just about to move or about to move, ready to move. At that time, which friction is acting? Limiting friction force. And limiting friction force is nothing but maximum static friction. Maximum static friction. देखो, this is the ये डिसाइड करेगा whether the object is moving or not. ये limiting friction आप बोलेगा फोर्स अप्लाई कर रहा है बोले तो इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी दैट बॉडी इज मूविंग. आपको बहुत केयरफुल से लेना पड़ेगा. लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन कैलकुलेट करके दिस इज द डिसाइडिंग फैक्टर वेयर द बॉडी इज मूविंग और नॉट. इफ लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन से कम है तो द बॉडी इज नॉट मूविंग. लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन से ज्यादा है तो द बॉडी इज मूविंग. ओके. एंड बॉडी ब्लॉक स्टार्ट्स मूविंग एट दैट टाइम द फ्रिक्शन फोर्स एक्टिंग इज काइनेटिक फ्रिक्शन फोर्स. वी कॉल्ड काइनेटिक फ्रिक्शन को एफ के से रिप्रेजेंट करेगा. लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन को एफ L से रिप्रेजेंट. ओके. एंड स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन का FS. ओके. समझ आ रहा है तक? छोटे छोटे एग्जांपल्स लेंगे, क्लियर हो जाएगा और कुछ नहीं. चैप्टर स्मॉल चैप्टर ओनली, तमड़ नहीं है. 2 क्लासेस और मैक्सिमम 2.5 3 क्लास में हो जाएगा. चलो. A static friction. If a force is applied to move the body and does not move, the friction developed is called static friction. And anybody tell what is the formula for static friction?
Mu S into N.
US tell आपका ऋषा.
Same thing.
Okay. प्रणव. कल ही एग्जाम US into N बोल रहे हैं. Wrong. mu s into n is not the formula for static friction.
Oh wait, sir. Static friction has no formula.
स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन का कुछ भी फॉर्मूला नहीं रहेगा, बट एक्चुअली फॉर्मूला बोले तो it is equal to applied force only. Static friction ka force is always equal to applied force. Okay.
No, but
That
that's
is-
only if the applied force is lesser than the max static friction,
हाँ.
right?
See, at that time static friction act हो रहे तो कितना static friction act हो रहे बोले तो that is exactly equal to applied force only. I told right, when I applied 10 newtons, 5 newtons, the opposite direction में friction force is acting 5 newtons only. So that time friction force is static friction force is how much means 5 newton बोलने का. If I apply 6 newtons, friction force also acting 6 newtons. That is self adjustable friction बोलते हैं. Self adjustable वो मैं बढ़ाता गया वो भी बढ़ता जाएगा. Self adjustable बोलते हैं उसको. Okay. डायरेक्शन क्या है? इक्वल इन मैग्नीट्यूड एंड ऑपोजिट इन डायरेक्शन टू द अप्लाइड फोर्स. देखो अप्लाइड फोर्स इट इज अ सेल्फ एडजस्टिंग फोर्स. इट इज अ सेल्फ एडजस्टिंग फोर्स. तो स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन सिंपली आपको लिखने का स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन फोर्स इज इक्वल टू अप्लाइड फोर्स. अप्लाइड फोर्स खत्म. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. म्यू एस इंटू एन वाला ये वाला लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन का फॉर्मूला बोल रहे हैं आप. applied force. Okay. So कोई पूछेगा तो what is the formula for static friction means it is equal to applied force. That's it. Next. Done. Next, limiting friction force. We represent as FL, limiting friction. Okay. Limiting friction force क्या है? The maximum friction force that can exist at the contact surface. उससे ज्यादा नहीं, वो contact surface से ज्यादा नहीं रहेगा. Limiting friction सबसे ज्यादा friction force रहेगा. उससे ज्यादा अगर दिया, it will turn into the kinetic friction force. And limiting friction is proportional to always normal reaction. When I remove proportionality, we'll get a constant that is mu s into n. F limiting is equal to mu s into n. So आपको FL is equal to mu s times n, where mu s is called as coefficient of static friction. Coefficient of static friction. E formula बोला आप. Okay, mu s is called coefficient of static friction. देखो, if Fs static friction force is less than equal to mu s into n, that time bodies do not slip over each other. It will not move. There is no relative motion. Whenever there is no relative motion, there is no friction. Okay, so it does not move. At the time, the friction force acting is nothing but static friction force.
So can you go back for a second?
E, eh?
Yeah, sir, that one. Yeah, so you can go to the next slide.
Okay, copied. Chalo. Next one is kinetic friction force. If a force is applied to move the body and then it moves, then the friction force developed is called dynamic or kinetic friction. When the object start moving, at that time the friction is acting. That friction force is nothing but the kinetic friction force. Object motion में तो definitely it is a kinetic friction force. And we represent kinetic friction as Fk. Fk. So here also Fk is proportional to normal action. So when I remove proportionality, we'll get Fk equal to mu k into n, where mu k is called as coefficient of kinetic friction. Kinetic friction. And direction मालूम है ना, it opposes the relative motion. When our object is in motion, it opposes the relative motion. Suppose एक object is moving with 10 meters per second. Same road में other object is moving with 20 meters per second. then which will have more kinetic friction? 10 meters per second or 20 meters per second? Which will have more kinetic friction? Question understood? गाड़ी 10 meters per जा रहा है, some kinetic friction is acting. 20 meters per second है, some kinetic friction is acting. Which one will more? बोलो, प्रणव बोलो. Which one will have more kinetic friction?
The one with higher speed.
Higher speed, no. Kinetic friction force is constant. When it does not depend on speed. It is
Will be
depending only
equal.
normal action. Normal action is always constant. Suppose एक object है of mass m, इसका what is the force acting? mg, ऊपर normal action. So n equal to mg. आप 10 meters per second जाओ, 20 meters per second जाओ, 30 meters per second जाओ, the normal action is always mg only. So kinetic friction is always constant. वो motion पर depend नहीं होगा. Okay.
So what's the difference in formula between kinetic friction and limiting friction?
See, kinetic friction, name itself in kinetic means when the objects start moving, at that time the force which is acting in the opposite direction is nothing but friction force, kinetic friction force. Limiting friction means that is comes under static friction only. At limiting friction also, the object is just about to start, is not moving, still not moving. Limiting friction से एक 0.01 newtons किया तो भी it start moving. At that time, kinetic friction force is acting. So limiting friction is a boundary limit where it will decide whether the object is in motion or rest. Okay.
Okay, sir.
चलो. Now, a graph बहुत important है. देखो, you tell me which will have more friction? Static का, limiting का, kinetic friction का. Which is having more friction?
Kinetic.
Okay, अब कृषा बोलो. काम बेटर बोलो. मानो which will have more friction? Static का, limiting का, kinetic friction. So in you tell me when आपको मैं पुश करता गया, एक गाड़ी को पुश करता गया, एक certain limit के बाद वो गाड़ी will start. Once starting, it is easy to push, right? Once started, it is easy to push. But
Yeah.
starting करने समय में आपको बहुत ज्यादा force देना पड़ेगा. That
So
means
static.
no, आपको limiting friction is the highest friction force. उसके बाद एक ही बार गाड़ी स्टार्ट होगा ना, friction force गिर जाएगा. And देखो, kinetic friction is constant friction.
So
Kinetic friction
don't
is
change
constant.
the slides. I'll draw the graph.
So when I go on pushing 5 Newton, 10 Newton, 20 Newtons, it go on the friction force also increasing. But up to certain limit तक reach होगा. This is called limiting friction. वो limiting friction का एक न्यूटन भी ज्यादा होगा ना, वो एक ही बार गिर जाएगा and becomes constant. That is called as kinetic friction. That's why it is a state of motion. Here the kinetic friction में state of motion रहेगा, like a state of rest. Up to इधर तक static friction only will act. उसके बाद dynamic और kinetic friction will act.
So what is dynamic?
Huh?
So what is dynamic?
Dynamic or kinetic friction is same. Dynamic means motion. So now clear है, questions करने समय और भी मजा आएगा. Why? Because you are before limiting friction का फॉर्मूला बोला ना. So आपको क्या है, static friction का फॉर्मूला नहीं है, and limiting friction का फॉर्मूला mu s into n, and kinetic friction is mu k into n.
Yes, sir.
छोटा सा हो गया.
Yes, sir. Done.
Now छोटा सा some cases लेंगे so that आपको easy हो जाएगा. देखो, you tell me if there is no force, short form लिख लो, we are doing numericals. If there is no force, friction is how much? Friction is
Zero.
how much? 0, right? If the f is 0, friction is also 0. Okay.
Separate.
Now, case 2.
So can you go back?
शॉर्ट फॉर्म में लिखो, न्यूमेरिकल्स में
Yeah.
आपको ये पूरा मीनिंग समझ में आएगा आपको.
So that is 0. Yeah, sir. You can go to the next.
लग कर रहा हूं. ओके, ये डायग्राम ड्रॉ कर लो, दैट्स इट. एंड इसका स्मॉल केस शॉर्ट फॉर्म में लिखो. Okay, next. Now suppose if the F is less than equal to limiting friction force, tell me the body will move or not? Less
It
than
won't.
limiting friction force,
It won't move.
it won't move. So which friction is acting at the time?
Static.
Static friction का फॉर्मूला क्या है?
Applied force.
खत्म. F is equal to applied force. आपको कितना फोर्स अप्लाइड है वही है. And F, when F is equal to limiting friction force, so whether the body will move, limiting friction force, whether the object will move,
No, sir.
No.
So it'll be about to move.
Just about to move but not moving, ready to move but not moving, right? At that time, what is the friction we have to take? Limiting friction force only we should take, right? So a formula क्या है? mu s into n. And object में suppose एक block है moving बोलते n equal to mg आएगा. n equal to mg. It is not always m equal to mg. In cases पर force अगर certain angle में गिरे तो और भी add होता जाएगा. Okay. Okay. Now if the force is greater than limiting friction force,
The body
body start is in motion. That time which friction is acting?
limiting.
Kinetic.
No, kinetic.
Kinetic friction. At the time, how to find acceleration? If एक body है, block है, moving,
subtract applied force by kinetic force
net
divided.
force by mass. देखो, very important. एक body है, when is motion, kinetic friction is acting. At that time, they will tell to find acceleration. That time क्या है? Net force by net mass. So net force क्या है? F minus Fk by m. Fk is mu k into n. N is equal to mg in this case में. Subtracted, that's it. खत्म. आपको क्वेश्चन में देखने का विच एवर आपको फ्रिक्शन लग रहा है वो यूज करने का, सॉल्व करने का. ओके डन. ओके चलो. तो डायरेक्शन ऑफ फ्रिक्शन फोर्स का 1 2 थिंग आपको डायरेक्शन कैसे ड्रॉ करना सीखने का. देखो सपोज मान लो एक सरफेस है, एक ब्लॉक है. ओके, ब्लॉक इज मूविंग विथ 10 मीटर्स पर सेकंड. यू टेल मी इस ब्लॉक के ऊपर फ्रिक्शन फोर्स किस तरफ एक्ट होगा?
The left.
लेफ्ट साइड, राइट? इसके ब्लॉक के ऊपर लेफ्ट साइड आएगा फ्रिक्शन फोर्स. ओके, एंड बिकॉज देखो ये सरफेस है, मैं सरफेस हूं, मेरे ऊपर से गाड़ी जा रहा है, मैं देखता गया उस तरफ जा रहा बोलता मैं उसको अपोज करेंगे बोल के मैं आई एम अप्लाइंग ए फ्रिक्शन फोर्स ऑन द सरफेस ऑन द ब्लॉक ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. According to Newton's third law, that block also will apply a friction force in the opposite direction. So this also will apply a friction force in the surface like this. ये surface पर गिरेगा friction force like this, and a surface will exert say friction force block on the opposite direction. दोनों action reaction पेयर दोनों समझो, because आपको block and block questions में आपको बहुत काम आएगा. Okay, now tell me suppose this surface एक block है, B block and A block is there. A is moving with 4 meters per second and B is moving with 2 meters per second. मुझे फ्रिक्शन फोर्स ड्रॉ करो बिटवीन टू ब्लॉक्स का, बिटवीन टू ब्लॉक्स का फ्रिक्शन फोर्स ड्रॉ करो.
Sir, won't there be, it's easy. Won't there be just a friction force on A on the left, and then the same friction force will be on the top of B on the right,
Yes.
and then on
good.
the bottom also there'll be one.
Yes, correct. ये समझ में आया? Easy है ना? Friction force. Okay, and the block will exert a friction force on the surface in the right side. ये सीखो आपको. Okay, because it is moving faster, right? So friction, this surface is exerting friction in the opposite direction. समझ में आया? चलो न्यूमेरिकल्स करेंगे, स्टार्ट करो. चलो इजी से थोड़ा हार्ड जाएंगे. A block of weight 100 newtons lying on horizontal surface. Weight is 100 newtons. Horizontal surface just about to move when the horizontal force of 25 newtons is applied. Determine the coefficient of static friction. Mu s is how much?
0.25.
देखेंगे. Just about to means ये कौन सा फ्रिक्शन एक्ट हो रहा है? लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन. मतलब ऑब्जेक्ट इज नॉट मूविंग, सो लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन फार्मूला यूज करो. FL is equal to mu s times n. No apply. Tell answer. And how much they given? 25 newtons horizontal force, right? So क्या होगा?
Yeah, sir, you'll get
25 by n equal to mg, right? 10 100. So it is
the
mu
0.25.
s is 0.25. आया Krisha? So a 10 kg है 20 newtons, a 0.25 mu. See, everything they will give like this. Mu k will be given, mu s also will be given. Okay. So why? Because they want to make confused which one क्या है कैसा है वो. You always remember whether the object is moving here. I'm applying a force 20 newton. Whether the object is moving.
Sir, it might
कैसे पता चलेगा? Who is the deciding factor?
applied. I mean, the limiting statical limiting any.
Limiting friction find करो. Limiting friction is a deciding factor. Limiting से the applied force is less than है तो not move. If greater than है तो it will move. Now tell me. He's asking magnitude of friction force, but he don't know which friction is acting. You decide and tell.
Yeah, sir, you'll get limiting. I mean, like you'll get the limiting friction as you'll get the limiting friction greater than the
Mu
force
s into
applied.
n. Mu s
So the
is 0.3 into n equal to mg, right? So 10 g. So 30 newtons. Now 20 newtons applied force is less than the limiting friction, right? So whether the object will move?
No.
No, object will not move. At that time, which friction is acting?
static.
Static friction का formula is applied
20.
force. So it is 20 newtons. Khatam. This is the answer.
So they didn't ask for that
He's asking
kinetic.
magnitude of friction force. कौन सा friction force we don't know, right? So we found the
Yeah, I
magnitude.
understand.
Similarly, find second one.
That's your acceleration. So for acceleration, we have to use that formula F minus Fk by m.
इधर acceleration क्या में कृषा? First case में acceleration.
Straight to 0.
It's not moving only. Why F minus F 0? Static friction में ना, it's not moving.
So second case is 3.
Second case is 3 acceleration.
Okay, wait. No.
So can you zoom in the picture once?
This is 0.25. This is 0.3 and 10 kg 60 newtons. This is mu k mu s. This is mu k.
So 3.5.
3.5.
5.
Correct.
Sir, so over here you'll get the force applied is greater than the limiting friction.
Whether
So
the object is
kinetic-
move.
Yeah, the object will move.
At that time, which friction is acting? Kinetic friction is acting.
Kinetic. So you have to substitute F
Mu k times
whatever
n.
means.
First, find karo. Mu k times n. 0.25 times mg. So 100. So it is 25 newtons.
25.
Now acceleration is net force by net mass. So 60 minus 25. How much? For 35. 35 by mass is 10. So it is 3.5 meters per second square. So
Yeah.
limiting friction is a deciding factor आपको कभी भी without deciding only force apply किया तो move होगा बोल के acceleration मत डालो. You have to decide and then solve करो. Okay.
Sir, so can we say that if there's no kinetic friction on a body, acceleration is 0?
When there is no kinetic friction but which friction is acting means static or limiting होगा ना उसमें तो body नहीं जाएगा acceleration 0.
Yeah. So can we just say that if only kinetic friction is present, the body will have acceleration?
See if there is no friction only that time we have to find, right? Find करने का decide
Oh.
करने का. चल. एक physics book है ये put like this ऐसा पकड़ के रखा. Okay, इसका हाथ से पकड़ा. It's a physics book. Okay, मतलब I'm drawing here. So if you want to press the physics book of mass m, इसका mass m है. Between your vertical palms ऐसा लगा के पकड़ के रखा so that it remain in equilibrium. How much force you have to press the book so that it will be in equilibrium. In terms of variables में आएगा solve करो. देखो फ्रिक्शन फोर्स किस तरह फैक्ट होगा मैं इसे पकड़ के रखे तो फ्रिक्शन फोर्स किस तरह फैक्ट होगा इसके ऊपर फोर्स लग रहे हैं ना
So up.
बिकॉज वाई इज अप Why it is up? Because आपको downwards force, I told you, if you are applying the force, उसी opposite direction में act होगा. Ready to slide, right? Slide होने के chance है ना इसका, इसी में, इसी force में, उसको opposite direction में आपको friction होगा. इधर इधर भी हाथ है, इधर भी हाथ है ना, so दोनों F, इधर भी F act होगा. Now condition is कितना, if you want to press the physics book so that it will be staying in equilibrium, it should not fall. So
mg mu
2F is equal to mg, F is equal to
mg by 2.
mg by 2. Okay, friction force आया, but he's telling to find what?
shouldn't it be mu s into mg by 2?
mu s into mg क्यों?
So
देखो,
it
he's
is
applying,
friction
ऐसे मैं
force
पकड़ के
is-
रखा ना, I'm applying a force like this, F, इधर भी F लगा रहा हूँ.
Okay.
हाँ, that force चाहिए. हाँ, try करो.
So shouldn't we take components?
नहीं कंपोनेंट्स नहीं है. व्हाट इट टोलिंग, द आपको कितना फोर्स लगाऊं सो दैट इट शुड नॉट स्लिप, वो इक्विलिब्रियम रहने का, राइट? सो आपको
So
क्या
why
है,
is
दैट
there two
मींस
frictions?
फ्रिक्शन फोर्स शुड बी, नो ये हाथ है, इधर भी हाथ है ना, सो दोनों कांटेक्ट है, इट रेडी टू स्लाइड, राइट? दोनों बॉडीज से, दैट्स व्हाई ऊपर दो फ्रिक्शन है. ओके, मैं बुक में ऐसे पकड़ा, बुक को मैं ऐसा ऐसा पकड़ा, सो इधर भी फ्रिक्शन है बिकॉज फोर्स इज एक्टिंग डाउनवर्ड्स, ऊपर फ्रिक्शन है, ये भी फ्रिक्शन है. ओके, हाँ. नाउ कंडीशन क्या है, टेल मी, फ्रिक्शन फोर्स टू स्टे इन इक्विलिब्रियम, फ्रिक्शन फोर्स शुड बी लेस देन इक्वल टू mu s टाइम्स ऑफ n. दिस कंडीशन शुड बी satisfied or not? Then only आपको बॉडी शुड बी इन इक्विलिब्रियम, राइट? अदरवाइज क्या होगा, लेस देन इक्वल टू होगा तो द बॉडी इज इक्विलिब्रियम, ग्रेटर होगा तो इट विल स्टार्ट मूविंग. नो, एफ के जगह में लगाओ mg by 2 less than equal to mu s times of, here n is nothing but, normal action is nothing but f only. देखो, normal action is nothing but f only. F, no, f find करो, find f.
greater than equal to mg
कभी भी
by 2.
इंटरचेंज हुआ तो lesser than will become greater than, right? So f is greater than equal to 2 mu s by mg. This is answer. इतना फोर्स में बुक को लगाऊं
Sir,
so that
won't it be
the
mg by 2?
mg by, yes, correct. mg by 2 mu s. So इतना फोर्स लगाऊं so that the book should not fall. So they can give block also like this question. Okay, समझ में आया पढ़ा ये वाला?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So why should it be greater than equal to?
See, whenever this is called inequality, maths में क्या होगा, when you when I bring like this, equal to नहीं है ना, ये
Why
equal
is
नहीं
it
है.
greater than equal to? I mean, sorry, less than equal to.
See, you tell me when it is equal to limiting friction is acting. Limiting friction में object will fall, no, right?
No.
Less than है तो भी
Yeah,
दोनों
sorry.
कंडीशन में यूज कर रहे हैं. ओके, चलो करो. एक मास m है, आई एम अप्लाइंग ए फोर्स विद डिफरेंट वैल्यूज में, 1 न्यूटन, 2 न्यूटन, 2.5 न्यूटन से मैं पुल कर रहा हूँ ब्लॉक को. ओके, he has given the coefficient of static friction mu s, they given as 0.2, and kinetic friction mu k, they given as 0.15. See, always याद रखो, mu s is always greater than mu k. Values आपको sometimes they'll not give mu s mu k, they'll give values mu बोल के देगा. So you have to decide which one is mu s, which one is mu k comparison में. Mu s is always greater than, because limiting friction is greater than, see, limiting friction is greater than kinetic friction, right? Always. So क्या होगा, mu s times n is greater than mu k times of n. So n cancel, mu s is always greater than mu k. याद रखो, always mu s is greater than mu k. Okay. Find the friction force if the horizontal force F is applied. एक केस में you try to apply friction force. You try to find the friction force. So if I am applying 1 Newton, whether the object will move, we don't know. We have to decide. Decide के लिए limiting friction calculate करो. Limiting friction calculate करो. That is a deciding factor. And then decide whether the object is motion or not. उसके accordingly you try to find friction force.
So the last one is 2.5 Newton or 25 Newton.
2.5.
Sir,
Yeah, tell.
sir, they already get the values as now.
They
We're
already
supposed to
given the
find
values.
friction.
Friction we have to
wait.
find.
Yeah.
Already किधर से दिया? Mu के mu s दिया. क्वेश्चन ने शुड़ा आपको सब लोग को?
Yes, sir.
हाँ.
Sir, first one it will be 1 Newton, second one 2 Newton, third one 1.5.
Yes, correct. Limiting friction find करो पहले. Limiting friction is mu s times of n. So mu s is 0.2 mg. Okay. The given mass is 1 kg into g 10. So it is 2 newtons. So limiting friction is 2 Newton बोल के आ गया. Now check 1 Newton. I'm applying a force. Definitely the object will not move. Then the object is not moving. Which friction is acting in the first case? में static friction. Static friction का formula equal to applied force. Applied force is how much? 1 Newton. So 1 Newton is answer. Mano, you got?
Sir, I'm doing the last one.
Okay.
Sir, whenever force is greater than the mu n, we should always calculate only kinetic friction.
Whenever force is greater than FL check करो.
Yeah, so that means you should find only kinetic friction, right?
That time kinetic friction find करेगा. Because object start moving. Limiting friction cross किया.
Yeah, sir, I got same 1, 1, 2, and 1.5.
Good. So friction force always opposes the relative motion. अगर दोनों forces है तो subtract करके उसका opposite direction में friction force will be acting. Friction always opposes the relative motion. चलो हो गया? Last one देखते हैं. Third case में it is greater than applied for limiting friction, right? That time kinetic friction. Fk is equal to mu k times n. So mu k is 0.15 times mg, 1 into g10. It is 1.5 newtons. Got? Second case में क्या है? Equal to, right? Equal to limiting friction. Limiting friction formula is mu s into n. Same one, 1 newton. आया? चलो. Find the tension in the string. देखो ये wall है. Wall को पीछे attached है. Fixed है. It will not moveगा. There is no other way. 10 kg block है.
Nothing
And
but the friction force only.
which one?
Won't the tension be nothing but the friction force?
नहीं, based on this values के हिसाब से बोलो. Find the tension in the string connecting the wall and the block if F is 20 newtons. अगर मैं force 20 newton लगा रहा हूँ, तो tension कितना होगा? 60 है तो कितना होगा? Definitely खींचता जाऊंगा ना. Body not move, but tension तो बढ़ेगा ना something. Not right. फर्स्ट केस में टेंशन कितना होगा? अगर मैं जो भी फोर्स लगा रहा हूं, द ऑब्जेक्ट इज नॉट मूविंग, दैट टाइम टेंशन विल बी जीरो. देयर इज नो टेंशन. सो चेक करो. और इन दिस आल्सो यू हैव टू चेक लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन. देखो म्यू के म्यू एस वैल्यूज आर गिवन टू यू.
So will it be 35 in the second case?
फर्स्ट केस कितना?
0.
हाँ 0, टेंशन 0. सेकंड केस में
35.
35 are wrong.
Sir, how will you calculate it?
Oh, that's all important. Object will not move, right? Really?
Sir, it will.
Second case में why it is attached with the wall? Wall के साथ attached है.
That's why it won't move, but then there'll be tension and there'll be friction and there'll be force applied with it.
So आपको क्या
First
करने का?
one tension is 0.
first one tension is 0. Yes.
So tension is equal to 25 minus 60. Minus
25 किधर से आ रहा है? मैं 60 न्यूटन दे रहा हूँ ना?
Oh, it won't move. Oh, 30.
हाँ 30. फर्स्ट वन आया प्रणव? See, limiting friction calculator. Limiting is equal to mu s times of n.
Yeah.
Limiting friction is equal to mu s is 0.3 times of mg 100. So it is 30 newtons.
Yeah.
So agar the force is less than 30, right? Definitely static friction. Static friction is equal to applied force. So static friction is equal to applied force is okay 20. But they're not asking. Matlab object is not moving, right? Object is not moving means the backside tension force is 0. Because it is in static friction, it's not moving, there is no tension on the wire. Now इसमें 60 newtons 60 newtons लगा 60 newtons लगा रहा हूँ.
So can't you find acceleration?
हाँ?
Can't you find acceleration?
No, इसमें second में why you are finding acceleration? Because the A already fixed with the wall, it will not move. It will not move. Okay. But आपको कैसे find करेगा? How to find tension? Here, when you tell me whether this force is greater than limiting friction force.
Yeah.
So it want to start to move, right? Greater than friction force. But इसमें backside limiting friction कितना है? इसका capacity कितना है? Limiting friction is 30 Newton, right?
Yeah.
Maximum force because maximum friction acting at the time.
You'll get T plus 30 is equal to 60.
Because see, it will not move. Why? Because wall ke attached hai. But its maximum friction will act at that time, definitely. So that's why T plus 30 is equal to 60. So T is equal to 30 newtons. So why we are taking this limiting friction here? It's not moving, but maximum friction will act at that time. That's why I took limiting friction. Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is x direction and y डायरेक्शन. एक ब्लॉक है सरफेस के ऊपर, इसके ऊपर 50 न्यूटन इज एक्टिंग, इसके ऊपर 20 न्यूटन इज एक्टिंग. ब्लॉक के ऊपर x डायरेक्शन में, y डायरेक्शन में इट इज एक्टिंग. एंड मास इज 10 kg. द गिवन सरफेस में है, मास इज 10 kg, इज केप्ट ऑन रफ सरफेस. फाइंड द डायरेक्शन ऑफ स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन इफ द ऑब्जेक्ट डज नॉट मूव. फाइंड द डायरेक्शन ऑफ स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन if the object does not move. Direction
so 25 newtons.
डायरेक्शन में थीटा फाइंड करो, कितना कौन सा डायरेक्शन में आपको स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन एक्ट होगा.
So tan inverse 3/4.
Tan inverse 3/4 is how much angle?
37.
37 degrees. कृष्ण लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन फाइंड करो पहले. Because we don't know.
N will be 115 or 85.
N ना.
Yeah.
N 115 क्यों? N equal mg, right?
Yeah, but sir, isn't there another force acting?
नहीं, ये तो वर्टिकल फ्रेम है. देखो दिस इज द बुक में ऊपर ब्लॉक रखा, इधर एक फोर्स है, इधर एक फोर्स है. वर्टिकल तो इक्विलिब्रियम है, N equal mg ओनली. ओके, ऊपर फोर्स इक्वल, नीचे फोर्स. ओके, सो पहले लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन कैलकुलेट करो. FL is equal to
Sir, can't we take the resultant of the two forces?
रिजल्टेंट फोर्स लेना पड़ेगा ना. रिजल्टेंट फोर्स आपको कितना है 25 न्यूटन. if I use parallelogram, if I add under root 20 square plus
resultant force value. Sir, can't we take it as tan alpha is equal to A minus B, that vector ka?
बट एंगल एंड ये वाला नहीं मालूम है ना, ये अल्फा रिजल्टेंट अल्फा वे टू फाइंड, राइट? सो आपको डायरेक्शन चाहिए फर्स्ट. हाँ, तो पहले रिजल्टेंट फोर्स फाइंड करो. बोलता हूँ रिजल्टेंट फोर्स कितना है. 25 गॉट ये वाला अंडर रूट दिस स्क्वायर 400 प्लस 225 625 अंडर रूट 625 is 25 न्यूटन्स, राइट? ये है. Now tell me the block does not move बोल रहे हैं. Find the direction of the static friction if the block does not move. Okay, limiting friction कितना है? Tell me limiting friction कितना है? mu s times of n करो कितना आएगा? Mu s is given as 0.4 into mg is 10g 100. So it is 40. देखो this force is the net force is less than the limiting friction force. Okay, so that means आपको static friction force किस तरह फैक्टर होगा? Tell me किस तरह फैक्टर हो रहा है? It is exactly opposite direction में static friction force is acting, right? Net force का opposite direction में static friction is acting, right? समझ में? now इसका डायरेक्शन चाहिए ना, थीटा. थीटा फाइंड करो. थीटा कैसा आएगा? थीटा इज ऑपोजिट बाय एडजेसेंट. इन वर्टिकल फ्रेम इफ यू सी ऐसा ऐसा देखे तो क्या होगा? ऑपोजिट इज दिस वन भाई, मतलब आपको एक्स एंड वाई डायरेक्शन आपको ऐसा ऐसा हॉरिजॉन्टल में डर लगे तो ऊपर ले लो. सो दिस इज वर्टिकल, दिस इज हॉरिजॉन्टल, दिस इज 15 20 न्यूटन्स, दिस इज 50 न्यूटन्स.
I got 3/4, yeah.
हाँ, it is theta. Tan theta is opposite by adjacent. So tan theta is equal to opposite is 20, 15 by 20. 3/4 is answer. आया? Yes. ये तीनों में बोलो. He's asking find the magnitude of friction force and acceleration of the block in each of the following. फर्स्ट केस 1, केस 2, केस 3 में सेपरेटली फ्रिक्शन कौन सा एक्ट हो रहा है. अगर फ्रिक्शन कुछ होगा तो फाइंड करो उसका एक्सेलरेशन भी फाइंड करो. ए वॉल है उसके ऊपर ब्लॉक है.
So normal will act downwards, right?
नॉर्मल इज
Will act downwards.
ना, वही मैं ऐसा फोर्स दे रहा हूँ ना. दो कॉन्टेक्ट के बीच में नॉर्मल इज ऑलवेज परपेंडिकुलर सरफेस, सरफेस से परपेंडिकुलर रहेगा. दिस इज एन.
That will be 50 only.
करो व्हाटएवर यू वांट टू डू. So in this में the body is slide होने के chances only in vertical frame में होगा ना. So friction force is acting in the opposite direction. So check करो first which friction is acting, then solve, find करो by using formula.
Sir, in all the cases they'll move, no?
All the cases move. ठीक है. First
So in
one
the first
limited.
case, so in the first case, I'm getting that it won't move.
Okay. No, he's asking move or not move. He's telling acceleration कितना है, friction कितना है. See, limiting friction calculate किया. So this is mg, right? 5g, and this is friction force. Friction force first limiting friction find करो.
Sir,
mu s
40.
times of n. So 0.4 times of 50, 5 into 10. How much? 40, 4, 8, right? 40, yeah? 20, yeah?
So then also one will be 20.
20 Newton.
20.
now देखो इधर नीचे क्या है? 5g, right? ऊपर कितना फ्रिक्शन एक्ट हो रहा है? लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन
Sir,
कितना
why is
कितना
not
लगता
50?
है? So that's why आपको it will definitely move first one, right? So that moving time में which friction is acting opposite direction में?
Kinetic.
no, find friction find करो.
Sir,
Yeah,
why
sir,
is
because kinetic
normal
friction is
50, sir?
15. So when I get kinetic friction as
okay,
1.5.
sorry. Normal
Sir,
action is this one,
force
right?
will be 40,
n,
sir.
sorry. Mu n. N is equal to इसमें क्या है? N is equal to how much? 100, right? Not 50, 100, right? 0.4.
So no, there will be 50 only.
Why 50?
So shouldn't it
Because
be
it's mg only, right?
अब normal force कैसे? Tell me. इसका बोलो. इसका normal force will be like this or like this.
So down.
लाइक दिस है ना नॉर्मल एक्शन. इसको थोड़ा पलटी करो तो नॉर्मल फोर्स ऐसा एक लगेगा. ऊपर थोड़े ऊपर फ्रिक्शन नीचे 5G. नॉर्मल एक्शन इज इक्वल टू 100. तो कितना होगा? सो 40. तो नाउ 50 है, ये 40 है लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन. डेफिनेटली मूव. एट द टाइम काइनेटिक फ्रिक्शन फाइंड करो.
Sir, is the acceleration 4 meter per second?
4 meters per second square. So
Sir, I
kinetic
shouldn't
friction,
understand.
kinetic friction is mu k times of n. So 0.3 times of n is equal to 100. So it is 30 meters. Now is telling to find acceleration. Acceleration किस तरफ जाएगा? नीचे जा रहा है ना. So 50 minus 30 by mass 5. 25 is 4 meters per second square. So same second one calculate करो.
So for case 3 you have to take components, right?
हाँ कंपोनेंट्स लेने का. केस 2 भी आ गया आपको?
So case 2 I just did the equation, sir. I didn't solve it.
Okay.
I'm solving now.
The case 2 acceleration is 0.
हाँ acceleration 0. Very good.
Sir, isn't the force applied 100? Is how is it 50
Which one?
for the first case?
First one you're telling normal action, huh?
No, the acceleration.
Acceleration के लिए kinetic friction you found ना 30 meters you got.
Yeah, sir, isn't it force applied minus Fk? Force applied
You
is
tell
100,
me
right?
here limiting friction is whether the block is moving or not moving. Tell me.
It's moving.
Moving means acceleration downwards, right?
Yeah.
What is the formula? Net force by net mass, right? Net force will be acceleration direction में you should take as positive. Remaining वाला negative है. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll get 50. Okay.
So 50 minus 30, that's 5 by 5.
So third case it's moving, no?
Moving definitely.
So n is equal to 500 cos 37, right?
N equal to 500. Yes.
Sir, in
Force
the
is
third
factor.
case,
देखो फोर्स का कंपोनेंट निकालो. इस तरफ वाला व्हाट इज द कंपोनेंट? 500 cos 37 एंड इसका परपेंडिकुलर कंपोनेंट विल बी 500 sin 37. आफ्टर स्प्लिटिंग इसका कुछ काम नहीं है. वी कैन रिमूव दिस वन.
the friction will act downwards, no?
बेस्ड ऑन द रिलेटिव मोशन किस तरफ एक्ट हो रहा है?
It will act downwards.
फ्रिक्शन इज एक्टिंग डाउनवर्ड्स. यस करेक्ट.
So then in the second case, the normal will be 500 only then.
500. Yes.
So will the net force be 350 then?
Which one?
Second case.
Net for whether the object is motion or not motion.
Motion.
Why motion? Limiting friction कितना है?
200.
Okay, and mg is how much?
500.
हमारी definitely it is motion, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, for
15.
the third case, are we getting a decimal?
Third case decimal नहीं है, perfect number है. Second case में limiting friction is 200
Yeah.
and force कितना है? 5G, right?
No, sir, 500 newtons.
नहीं आई एम टेलिंग इसका नॉर्मल एक्शन नहीं है. इसका कितना है? mg कितना है?
50. But that's not the force applied, right? Force applied is the one that's given in the question.
अरे देखो ये वाला स्लाइड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल नीचे और ऐसा स्लाइड होगा ना, वर्टिकल में स्लाइड होगा ना. You tell
Yeah,
me what is the vertical force down acting?
50,
50. And what is the limiting friction you got?
200.
200. Limiting friction उतना है तो whether the object will move, driving force is downwards. Limiting friction is 200 newtons. It will not move. Acceleration is 0.
So case 3 is 5.
Understand. So, but for the previous question, we didn't take like that, right?
Here also
For the
देखो 5G is 50, right?
Yeah.
And ऊपर limiting friction कितना है? 40. So definitely limiting friction से ज़्यादा है, कम है? Tell me.
Yeah, sir, understood.
हाँ.
So
5.
case 3 is 5.
So in this में 12G is 120 newtons. 120 newtons.
So you have to add that with 500 sin 37, right?
500 side direction is opposite direction. ऊपर है ना? And ये वाला नीचे है. Subtract करने का. Driving force check करो.
So, what is the net? Oh, acceleration 0. Never mind.
इधर acceleration 0. See 500 sin 37 is how much? Block है. Block के ऊपर. So इस तरफ वाला 537 means 500 into 3/5. So 300. And downwards is 120 newtons.
So where
And-
is friction at?
That only. You tell me
Oh.
300 minus 120 is how much?
180.
180.
180. 180 is acting upward or downward direction?
Upward.
Net force. Up. The friction will be acting in the.
Downward.
So 500 cos 37 is 500 into 4/5. 400. This is the normal action. Okay. No solve karo. So driving force is 180 newtons in the upward direction. So definitely it is moving now. In this moving में acceleration is formula क्या है? Acceleration
So,
is
won't it get 15?
180 minus Fk by m.
Oh, no,
Fk is how much? Friction force कितना है?
So, over
Kinetic
here,
friction-
the normal will be 400 only, right?
150.
400. 120, right?
Yeah, my bad.
120. Now subtract करो.
So, you get
180
5.
minus 180 minus
only get
120. 5 is answer. So it is 60 by 12 is 5 meters per second square. थोड़ा अंडरस्टैंड करने का एंड रिलेटिव मोशन का अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में फ्रिक्शन विल बी एक्टिंग. सो आपको डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा. डोंट हरी बरी में मूव हो रहा है, फोर्स लग रहा है, ऐसा नहीं. डिसाइड करके चेक करो वेदर इज मूविंग और नॉट मूविंग और क्या है. ओके. सो इसका क्वेश्चन हम लोग नेक्स्ट क्लास में और भी ज्यादा क्वेश्चन करने वाला है.
Can
इवन
you explain the 2 block mass, please?